How is everybody doing this fine day? I am back with Dr. Alan Chen. So, another episode of Alan Squared. I thought this would be a very interesting topic for both him and I to discuss together because people that have watched my channel for a while know that I've been a very staunch proponent against the show The Biggest Loser. I am because it was basically the systemic emotional and physical torture of obese people for ratings and views, right? Mm-hmm. Now we've just taken that as now the systemic, abuse, physical and mental of obese people has been basically rerouted to the people themselves, featuring themselves, gluttoning themselves. But this back in the day was the only way obese people were getting abused. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure that before we get started, everybody will be like, society treated them horribly. Nobody treats an obese person worse than they treat themselves. I'm just letting you know that. Mm-hmm. How old were you when this show came out, dude?
When did the show come out? I don't remember. Like, it's been a while,
huh?
Probably. Is the show still even playing? Is it still playing?
Not playing. It would never make it now. It would never make it now. Like, have you watched? Like, I've watched multiple seasons of the show. I used to do a critique.
Yeah, I've watched.
And then they brought it back. Yeah. And I destroyed that one too.
I watched it when Jillian Michaels was on it.
Okay.
Right. That was her. Yeah. That was her. Right.
Yeah.
And the other guy.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad. And they recently came out with a documentary about it. She's actually trying to sue the Netflix for the documentary, which is wild because they just show what she is doing on film, right?
Yeah.
And for those of you that I wanted to explain this real quick. We cannot show the show. We can't show clips of the show because more than any other company I've ever dealt with, the people that own that show will copyright strike you immediately. Like, if you try to show clips, I have had videos literally shut down in the middle of the video from showing clips. It's crazy. It's insane, right? So
we can have them use their imagination. It's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have you use your imagination, And the thing I viewed about the show, and I might as well put this up for us real quick. The thing that I found amazing about the show is that in the documentary they've just recently made, Bob Harper and Julie Michaels admit they had no idea what they were fucking doing.
Yeah, Bob Harper, that was his name. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
They admitted they had no idea what they were fucking doing, that they had never trained people this big, anything like that. And that was always my biggest thing because while I am, I've lifted heavy weights and all that stuff, and I was in the fitness industry, I've always been, my coaching has been always directed towards morbidly obese people and losing weight. Mm-hmm. I've never coached I've written programs that are pretty successful. I have a volume training program that's very successful. But I've always coached heavy people, right? So I have an interesting viewpoint on it. And, I'm glad you're here because I wanted to talk about a few of the things that they do. Mm-hmm. Basically, The Biggest Loser would have these people eating sub 1,000 calories, which, by the way, when you're 400 pounds, as long as you get your protein and your fat, is not even that bad. I'm just letting you know, because as long as you're getting your protein and your fat in, and you're getting your essential minerals and vitamins, you can eat that for a long fucking time until you get too thin, and that's no shit. This whole metabolic adaptation thing is a complete fucking fallacy that doesn't actually exist anywhere in nature. There is no place in nature where you can diet your way to not losing weight anymore when you are at those calories. You won't tank your metabolism that bad, and any hits you do get to metabolism, people seem to not understand. If you put yourself in a very, very stressful state, meaning you feel like you're starving nonstop and going to eat your face off, your cortisol levels rise, and that does have a hit on your basal metabolic rate, and therefore your basal metabolic rate is lower, and even the energy output you have is lower, right? Mm-hmm. When you exercise. And it's people don't understand these things, so we must get to them and make them understand that you do not have to worry about starvation mode. That is a completely ridiculous bullshit, try to give you an excuse to stay fat thing, and I would argue with anybody. And if you think you are the exception to that out there is a show called Alone. It is one of my favorite shows ever, and it is basically where they drop 10 contestants off in the middle of the woods in Alaska or Africa or something like that with 10 items of their choosing, and whoever lasts the longest gets $500,000. So my suggestion
I would love to be on that show. Damn, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, but the thing is, if almost everybody leaves the show because they end up either starving themselves into the point where the medical crew comes in and says, nope, you got to go. Or they just can't take it anymore. You know, they just can't take the alone. They miss their families and blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, they wouldn't want someone like me. I'm boring.
but well, out there's nothing boring because they're constantly moving.
Correct.
It's if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's got amazing. It's got like 15, 20 seasons. It's an amazing thing. Watch the original Alone, because they have Alone Alaska, Alone Australia. Watch the original Alone all the way up to its present, and then watch the other ones first.
Yeah.
Season 7 is my particular favorite because that's some manly man shit in season 7. This dude basically kills a fucking not a wildebeest, but a Wolverine with an axe by hand. Like it's coming after his food, and instead of being like, oh no, it's a Wolverine, he like grabs an axe, goes and fucking kills the bitch, and then he eats it. Like, and he won. That's the manly man shit, but he won, you know. But
makes sense.
If starvation mode existed, you would just need to learn how to build a really, 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 really strong, shelter to protect yourself, and just focus on boiling water. Because if you can't lose weight, no matter how little you eat, you don't have to worry about starving yourself out of there. You can just go like 100 days without food. You'll outlast everybody. You can just keep drinking water. Take some books with you. Maybe you can read some books. But that's the thing. Like when people try to say that stuff, it just is so ignorant, in the face of reality.
There's plenty of energy stored up there. So they can do it.
That was one of the things that they said about these people, that they put themselves in starvation mode, which I don't actually really believe, of course, because it doesn't exist. But one of the other things that they said, Alan, was that they were torturing these people. Like they used to do stuff where they would give them temptation challenges, where you put this massively morbidly obese person
I remember that
you have been starving for 4 days and making them run 12 miles. And then they put them in a room with donuts and shit like that. That's not beneficial. Like at no point in time, in my professional opinion, and by the way, my professional opinion about this topic is worth way more than Jillian Michaels, way more than Bob Harper's, way more than any of these bitches. And if you don't believe me, I didn't realize
they never trained morbidly obese people. Like I didn't.
No, he openly admits that they had never trained. Well, and you can tell they used to have them do crazy stuff. Like the one season, they had everybody start with a mile run on the beach. Like 350, 400 pound fucking people running a mile on the beach. And the one lady got rhabdo and almost died.
Oh my gosh.
They thought they were doing something great. They carried her across the fucking finish line so she could be on the show, and then she had to get immediately taken to the hospital and had rhabdomyosis. She her kidneys were shutting down, her organs were shutting down, everything like that. And it's because you're having a fucking morbidly obese person who pretty much sat on their couch for the last 20 fucking years trying to run a goddamn mile with like 350 pounds.
They can barely do 100 meters for that matter.
The mailbox is effort for some of these people.
Oh my gosh. And especially on the beach, like that's not easy either. You have to dig.
Yeah, running on the beach. Well, running on the beach ought to be easy for you fucking enormous cat motherfucker. Jesus Christ. But
maybe, but for those people though, like it takes not only strength but also coordination, because the beach is not necessarily straight flat either.
Oh yeah.
So you have to be able to not fall. So that's nice. I mean,
this show produced massive, like a lot of these people wrecked their legs for good. That's where it did affect them. Tons of stress fractures that led to systemic calcium deposits, everything like that, neurological pain, everything. Like there's so much that's involved, right? And not to mention, like you're pounding on your knees when you're that big. So they would basically have these people work out for like 8 hours a day on 1,000 calories. And of course, like they're pitching weight loss. They were pitching such silly ass fucking weight losses. Like the one dude lost, and granted, he was probably had not worked out, but like probably a good 10 pounds of it was water weight, but he threw over 30 pounds of weight loss in a week, like one of the first weeks, right? And then it would get to like week 2 or 3, and they'd be like, everybody seems to stall about them. Like that's how little they knew about this. It's like they don't realize that the first couple weeks is going to be a decent portion of water weight, especially when the person's massively enormous, right? And they're having these people lose in like a very short period of time hundreds of pounds. I would love for you to explain to the audience why losing weight at an extremely fast pace, like what the negative things that can do to your body. Because just so you know, from like coming from like training morbidly obese people, one of the biggest problems is that once they decide they need to lose weight, they try to throw the fucking throttle down and lose it as fast as humanly possible, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a bunch of things. So let's just start from the obvious. So to get to that state, to being morbidly obese, takes time too. So why would you, to reverse it, also take, well, why would you want to make the process of losing weight a lot shorter?
Right.
And your body just can't keep up with all these changes, at least that quickly. If, for example, if you ate a shitload on Thanksgiving, for example, your body will acutely recognize, hey, my stomach's full. I feel like shit. I just want to sleep now. I don't feel like doing anything. That's an acute reaction to eating a lot of food. But when you're morbidly obese, you're doing that almost every single day. So now you're accustomed to doing that, eating that much and not moving a whole lot and all that jazz. So why would you why would you want to, on the reverse side, go that quickly? Your body, you just can't keep up with that. And metabolism, your hormones, all that, like you mentioned, cortisol, like, yeah, the stress would just go skyrocketing, and you'll end up not getting the results that you want, really, in terms of having a better physique in general. I feel like those folks who try to lose weight the fastest, especially through methods like gastric bypass, for example, they are the ones that have the most skin, extra skin that ends up forming when you lose that weight that quickly, or stretch marks even. So cosmetically, it's not the best either. All sorts of things. And then, your muscles and your joints also need to adapt as well. And if you're losing all that weight because you're malnourished, you're not having the essential nutrients that you need to be able to sustain that properly, then there's that component as well, where injuries could happen, because everything is, your body's not conditioned to this new level of exercise, if that's what the method of weight loss is, to this new method of exercise. It's not a condition to do that, and thus bones break, tendons rupture. That's when all that stuff happens. So there's a bunch of I'm probably missing a few points there, but there's plenty of reasons why, just in general, like it's not a good idea to lose it that quickly. And it's to get a result like that, to get a fast result like that, you're asking for trouble, essentially.
I completely agree with all of those. A few other things to look out for that a lot of people don't know. And this is weird, because this is why my wife and I have coached thousands of very morbidly obese people to health. I wish we would have kept track of just the anonymized data. You know what I mean? Take their name off of it, leave their age, sex, height, weight, everything like that, and use that data to correlate cravings, hunger, weight loss, everything like that. But one of the correlations that is just very apparent to my ADHD brain is that an enormous number of people that get gastric bypass, especially the sleeve, it seems to be. I don't know why even more than the bypass. The sleeve seems to do this more to people, and I don't really know why. And people on Ozempic, or people that just fucking grip it and rip it, and they lose 150 pounds in 6 or 7 months. Almost all of them end up having to have their gallbladders taken out. And I mean all of them, And I do believe it's because of the basically the sludge that builds up because they lose weight so fast. It can only go so many places, right? You said that you see that more with the sleeve than you do the bypass. Yeah, we do see it more with the sleeves. Yeah, weird.
Because the way the anatomy works, with the gastric bypass, I think he bypassed where the gallbladder empties into the duodenum. I think he completely bypassed that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I have to double check that. Somebody fact checked me on that. But that would make more sense for them to have their gallbladders.
I agree. I totally agree, and I don't know. I don't even really know.
Interesting.
But even with the bypass, there's still a high propensity for them to need their gallbladder removed, a very, very high propensity.
No, don't forget though, with gallbladders though, obesity is still a risk factor for having cholecystitis and all that.
Okay.
So I mean that's just.
So do you think it's a combination of being obese for a while and then losing the weight real fast?
Yeah, because that's a top risk factor to having cholecystitis, which is infection or inflammation of the gallbladder. Yeah. So that makes sense. That just by that alone. So I mean, whether one surgery or the other makes a difference. It's, I mean, I don't have any data on that, but it'd be interesting
Right.
to look into that.
Well, I think it's also interesting that they really don't look into that. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting thing that they don't look into that.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I wonder how many of these people from The Biggest Loser have had to have that happen.
Oof.
Um, have you
That's
have you
something to look
watched any?
into.
Have you watched any of the documentary?
No, I have not watched any of the documentary, but who
I
made it,
highly
by the way? Who
It's a
created it?
Netflix special. It's from
Okay.
Netflix. I don't know who the producer of it is, but
Uh,
it is. First of all, as one more time, and I don't. I'm. By the way, audience, I am looking for a shirt that can be funny, but also like kind of truthful. That says "I told you so," because I'm just going to wear that bitch all the time. Might even get the tattoo on my chest, But because I kind of laid it like as I was watching the show. The training methods themselves were just ridiculous. There was a lot of times they would have these people jumping, like they would literally have them do box jumps, like very small box jumps. They're like, we need to build confidence. Like morbidly obese people should not be jumping on or off of any fucking thing. Like it's just that is even just not even as a coach or trainer or healthcare anything, just like common sense. Like you don't want a 300-pound person trying to jump like 2 feet in the air and land on a box.
oh
If they
gosh,
miss, if they miss the fall, could actually kill them. By the way,
yeah.
they're much more fragile than people think. But there's also they show almost all these people that have gained back the vast majority, and a lot of them have gained back even much more of the weight because they don't build healthy habits.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. By the way, if you want that T-shirt made, I got a guy that can help you out with that.
All right,
We can make a
we'll
design.
talk off. We'll talk.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely talk offline. Yeah, you could sell some merch. For sure. But then, no, I have a story actually, sort of related to that. This is medical school.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, shameless plug, I did do a video, somewhat talking about this about, I think a requirement to pass medical school would be to not be obese.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. But anyway, so we had one morbidly obese individual in the class, and behind her back, we were sort of like kind of making fun of her and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was my age, I think. And she broke her ankle. She came into class one day, she broke her ankle, and the story behind that was that she stepped onto a curb wrong and broke her ankle. Like, I don't never stepped onto a curb wrong and had that kind of catastrophic result happen where I am in crutches in a cast because I stepped on a curb wrong. Like that's just like what a way to go, I guess. Like it's just I
How
mean,
big was she?
oh gosh, she's definitely morbidly obese. Like she had to be like BMI of like 40 plus.
Oh shit!
Like I literally saw her like bring loaves of bread to class. Like no joke. It was just like
Disgusting.
like yeah, and I was just like, and then yeah, and as far as I know, she's still alive, and she and she's still practicing. But yeah, like it's just like those the kinds of things that they're very fragile. Like you said, they're very, very fragile. Morbidly obese people are very fragile in that regard. And doing stuff like The Biggest Loser, if any of those people actually get an injury, it's they're I mean, to me, that's a death sentence. Because not only just for like the things that you mentioned, but like just that whole psyche, the psychology of that. Having that traumatic experience, like, holy shit, this sucks ass. Like, even me doing some of that stuff that they do on that show, like, to me, that would suck ass. Like, to do all that, and to be miserable and to have people yell at me and to, have this such a restricted diet all of a sudden, this kind of experience would, like, fat chance that they're going to be able to try that again once they recover from their injury.
Right.
And I'm sort of right now, I'm kind of coaching through a couple people with some orthopedic injuries right now, and they're not morbidly obese, but they know what it's like to move, but they kind of now have a greater sense of gratitude towards being able to walk because they have to be on crutches all the time. It takes a lot longer, and they were telling me like, yeah, like if I was 300 more pounds, like there's no way I would get out of bed. So like
Yeah.
that in alone would be extremely detrimental for those individuals because they need to get out of bed. Like
Yeah.
ultimately their goal. And yeah, it's just the wrong approach to it. And once they get that injury though, it's done. Like it's going to be really, really, really hard to get them back to
Mhm.
where they need to be.
So I've actually made videos. It's always, first of all, it like toots my own horn when I hear doctors and stuff like that repeat stuff I've said before. But I used to call it the obesity death spiral
Yeah.
because people, like, a lot of times people would train really, really, really hard. Like, I'm getting this fucking weight off, so I'm going to start running marathons. And all of a sudden they get a stress fracture, they pop a tendon, something happens because they are fragile. Like, you've sat on your ass for a long time, and just by sitting, you are lowering your bone density. Your bones
Mhm.
need to be pushed on, okay, because your body is going to get rid of stuff that it doesn't necessarily want, right?
Mhm.
So, or it doesn't need. It doesn't. If it doesn't realize your body is under stress ever, it doesn't prepare your body for stress. This is natural adaptation. This is reality, right?
Mhm.
Same. It's the same principle as how people's muscles grow. Like, you put your muscles under a constant excess strain, progressively overloading it, and your body will adapt by creating more muscle, right?
Mhm.
So their bones get weaker, their tendons and ligaments definitely get weaker. The load bearing joints take a fucking pounding while weaker. So, like, a lot of these people have no cartilage in their knees. They like, they're so, some of these people are so heavy that they occasionally break bones in their own feet just by stepping wrong, stuff like that, because the bones are fragile and they're enormous, right?
Mhm.
So any type of injury for these people has a cascading effect, basically. They go from trying really, 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 really hard to watch every little thing they eat and work out really, really, really hard to all of a sudden they hurt themselves. So they are now in more physical pain than they normally are, which they're normally in a bit of physical pain and they
Mhm.
don't take it well. And then it causes depression, everything like that. But also, now they have to eat even less if they want to keep the same pace up. And since they realize they probably can't do that because they're starving themselves, not, and I don't mean actually starving themselves, they're in a high, they're making themselves feel very, very, very hungry all the time,
Yeah.
is how I should say it. Because
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
hungry does not mean you're starving.
Right.
But and then they just start eating more because they're sitting down, and now they're sedentary again, and they start eating more, and they gain even more weight. So it's very important for morbidly obese people to try to, like, pace it. Don't do anything that's going to get you injured. Any type
Mhm.
of injury, especially a lower limb or lower back injury for a morbidly obese person, can
Yeah.
cause a death spiral. They gain more weight, then they become even more immobile. If it's a load-bearing injury, load-bearing joint injury, it takes
Mhm.
even longer to heal, causing them to even, because they're fat, and then they get fatter.
Mhm.
Plus, they're eating crap food, which puts them in an inflammatory state.
Mhm.
And these are all things that should have been discussed, but instead they would work these people out until they would literally puke. Like,
Yeah.
on TV, they would make them puke. And while I bet you I'm considered, and especially after 2020, I bet you I'm considered one of the harsher people on obese people. I want all of you to understand it's because you motherfuckers need to start trying. Like, if you
Mhm.
start trying, I am your biggest advocate, and anybody in the chat that has been a coaching client of mine or is a coaching client of mine, or that I have spoken to or is on our app, can tell you that if you are
Yeah.
trying, I am your biggest advocate. If you're not trying, I couldn't give a fuck less about you because you're just in the way, and I mean, in my mind, if you either are not going to try, we should just let natural selection start taking place by removing your subsidies and shit like that, and
Mhm.
fucking have it go. But if you're trying,
Well,
I'll help you. You know?
yeah, I mean, this is a different existential topic, but to truly love someone is to suffer for them. And it's tough love. Like, I mean, it's tough love, and people need to hear the truth too. Like, sometimes, I mean, people being lied to about their weight, about what this whole fat acceptance movement, they're being lied to a lot. That's not love at all. Like, that's
No.
the opposite of it. It's sinful even. And we just lost the ability to be able to tell each other the truth. And
Yeah.
we're now like, we're now sugarcoating all these words, and thinking that all these other sins that's going on right now with the whole, I mean, the whole gender affirming care crap,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
if we can go on with that list.
Mm-hmm.
But the yeah, I mean, that's where, at least from my perspective, that's where you're
Mm-hmm.
coming from, is a lot of tough
Right.
love. And we just don't have enough of it, and people probably have not seen it their entire lives, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably why it's so it's quite new. It's a new concept to them. It's just like, whoa, I never heard anybody say this to me, or directed this at me, like saying like, oh my God, I'm not beautiful. Oh, I'm not healthy. Like those kinds of things. That's probably where it's coming from in general.
Yeah.
Is that like they never heard that probably in their entire lives. Yeah.
I think that's it. Especially now, it's gotten way worse where like these people are lied to even when they're younger. And I know everybody's like, oh, well, we shouldn't bully people. Yeah, the fuck we should. I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, the fuck we should, because that's just nature. Because here's the thing. If, bro, I want everybody to think about this actual real possibility. The power grid in the United States goes down for a month, because that's an actual real possibility. Our power grid is insanely fucking old and decrepit. The East Coast could go out, like could lose its power for weeks at a time if we don't start fixing it. But if that happened, you would wish that you were bullied when you were younger to not be fat. You know, if you are a type 2 diabetic and the power goes out for 3 weeks and you're used to eating 4,000 calories a day, you might die.
And you need medications, by the way. You can't get your medications either.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, and not to mention the panic and everything like that. I lived in Cape Coral when Ian hit, and I mean, when I say the eye of the hurricane flew right over our house, it flew right over our fucking house, and we didn't leave. So, but that's because, dude, we're prepared. Like I'm a prepper, homesteader, blah blah blah. But our life for like 2.5 weeks was awesome because we talked to our clients, but and we just had our phones. We would recharge by like the little solar things we'd had on our phones. We had some battery-powered fans or some solar-powered fans. And it was cool after the hurricane, so we relaxed. I read a bunch of books for pleasure because I couldn't access studies because I read studies all the time. And then my wife and I just kind of chilled on the front porch and did shit. But the rest of the population of Cape Coral, especially the very fat people, were freaking the fuck out. Like, and what was funny about that, bro, is by day 3 after the hurricane, you could travel over the bridge to Fort Myers and get food. They had power. They were fine. Like a couple miles inland, they were good, right? And people just lost their minds. And I realized, like, if these people had to be without power, like in a large region where they couldn't just drive over the bridge and get food, or drive over the bridge and get their medication, something like that, a lot of these people are dead, like literally dead, or they'll kill each other. You know.
What's that saying? If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you don't have two, you have none, because like if you don't have a way to cook your food without as a secondary way to cook your food, what are you gonna do? You know, like I mean, if you don't have a water purification system, like if you have a water purification system and it's battery operated or power operated, and the power goes out, you don't have a water purification system at a time where you need it the most. Like we have we have 2 purification systems, and I made one too, like with just gravel and stuff like that. But we have a gravity fed water filter, so it works no matter what, you know. So the thing I think people should realize, if you're very, very, very morbidly obese in America, you're asking to eventually just die a miserable death, no matter what. You know, no matter how society goes, because you're going to, as a newsflash, there's a difference between lifespan and health span. Actually, could you explain that, lifespan and health span, to people?
Oh gosh. So lifespan and health span. I
didn't mean to put you on the spot. I could jump in.
Yeah. This is not it's not the most intuitive. That's why.
Lifespan is the number of years you're expected to live.
Yeah, that's your lifespan. Health span's the quality.
Health span is the years you live a quality life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Like many of these morbidly obese people that are in their 30s and even early 40s that you see, that I talk about, that hate me and block me and all that shit, they're not going to make it to my age. I'm ancient. I'm like 54. I'm actually going to be able to get cheap cruises next year. I'll be 55, and that's literally how I'm looking at it. But the other aspect of this is, like, they're not going to live to my age, likely. Very likely. If you're 400 pounds and 40 years old, if you don't lose some weight very quickly, the 50s are not going to be a thing for you. But even if they are, it is going to be absolutely miserable for you. Like absolutely miserable. You know, and that's where I think that people don't understand. Like you can see a person that's encumbered, a 400-pound person they are not in their health span. They are not healthy. Like just by them having encumbered. And I think this you pointed out something so, and I did a little research on it. You pointed out something so poignant earlier. How people just openly lie to these people's faces and ignore the very stark truth of what they see right in front of their face, right? And then they proceed to lie more and more and more. But I've had so many people be like, "You don't know if she's healthy or not." Like, motherfuckers, I can see that she's waddling. Waddling is unhealthy. Like walking with an altered gait. Walking with an altered gait, which means that's the normal human gait is literally how you walk, right? If your legs have to go out, like glitter and lasers and everything like that puts unnatural stress and shear force on all of your joints, and especially for women, it's bad. The fatter your legs are as a woman, the shorter your health span is going to be. I guarantee it, and here's why. The reason why women cannot become men and men cannot become women is manyfold, including our chromosomes and reality, and testosterone and estrogen and everything like that. However, the one reason why men should not play in women's sports, no matter what they literally fucking call themselves, or literally even if they have the whole penis chopped off and everything like that, it still is an unfair advantage. And Mark Lobliner is the one that taught me this, and I looked it up. It's amazing. But there is a thing called the Q angle of the hip, right? And you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes. The Q angle of the hip on men and women is different by like 17 degrees, okay? The Q angle of a man's hip allows them to make very serious and dynamic movements left to right, right? The Q angle for a woman's hip, in order for her to be able to bear children, is wider. Therefore, they are much more prone to ACL injury due to valgus of the knee. And if your legs are spread farther out because they're too fat, your knees are already valgusing. Like your knees are already caving in. So that is your ACL, and it's ready to pop at any given time. And that's why men should not play in women's sports, because they have an unfair advantage on cuts, turns, and explosiveness, just because of the difference in how their hips are made. And that's something you're never going to change and be able to play sports anyway, right?
Right, exactly.
So especially if you're a woman and you're morbidly obese, your health span is going to be much shorter even than a morbidly obese man. And I know that's unfair, especially because men lose weight easier than women because we have testosterone, but it's reality.
So going back to the lifespan, health span. So I see lifespan as quantity, then health span as quality.
Yes.
Just as a simplification of that.
Yes.
I think this is like this recent, like 5 years was the first time that lifespan has decreased. Is that somebody can fact check me on that? Because we've been sort of like on this trajectory upwards with lifespan, like the number of years that you actually live. And a lot of that could be attributed actually to the evolution of neonatology. So that's the specialty of newborns. And
explain. I'm interested.
Oh, so neonatology, because of the technologies that we have developed, we can now take a preterm newborn. So any preterm just means less than 36 weeks gestation. So if the fetus is in the womb for less than 36 weeks, we can now take 24 weekers and allow them to be able to live to adulthood now. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And that's where the kind of where we're segueing away from the topic a little bit, but that's what we do. Well, yeah, exactly. But but the abortion agreement comes into play, because like, oh, is it just a clump of cells? And are they going to be able to, at that age, like you can actually have a fully functional adult at 24 weeks with the technology that we have. So we're taking a number or statistic of a newborn, only living like a couple hours because we don't have the technology to be able to sustain a preterm newborn like that, especially that gestational age. We're taking a really small number or used to be a small number in terms of mortality, and actually, significantly increasing their lifespan. Now, the health span argument is a completely different one, and that's where the medical data can get a little confusing, because this is especially in the case with cancer, where your 5-year survival rate, the increase in your lifespan with this drug, for example, yes, it could, it could increase the amount of years you can live than if you didn't have the cancer. But what is your quality of life like? How's the chemo going to affect you? How's the radiation going to affect you? Are there complications to said things? Are you going to have to go to the hospital more because of that? Are you going to have to
Hmm.
take more drugs? The
Right.
quality of life also goes down. So that's something to think about, which is a tough topic to have. It's always very touchy and emotional because it's, someone's life. And that's
Hmm.
where a lot of issues can come into play with ethics in that regard. But to me, like we focus way too much on the number. We don't focus
Hmm.
so much on the quality. And
I
for
agree.
me, like I would rather have 60 quality years than,
Hmm.
100 living on a respirator. You know,
Yeah, it's
I'm not
to
functional to
me.
society.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're not, and it's not even that you're not functional to society. It's just miserable. Like,
Yeah.
if you can't go out and do shit, like it's I don't know. I don't understand how people deal with it. But
Well, and
so
also
listen, I thought.
yeah, and also
Go ahead.
like
No.
I'm a detriment to my family too. Like they're
Oh
taking
yeah,
care of me. Like they gotta do my like they probably have I probably can't do much. They
yeah.
gotta make sure everything's clean and I'm turned on the bed and all that. Like it's
Mm.
just that's we
It's not good. Yeah.
yeah in medicine we focus way too much on the years and we don't quite recognize like what's the quality of life going to be. We don't really look into that
Well,
a whole
that's
lot.
because well, that's because medicine doesn't want a really good quality of life. They want you to have a shitty quality of life and them to medicate you to a little better of quality of life.
It makes more
And
money.
not you, but in general. But you know, um, so I thought we'd do a little Q and A.
Oh, sure.
So anybody in the audience, any questions for either myself or Alan? Which sounds it's very weird for me to say that myself or Alan. It
Yeah.
almost makes me
Or
sound
doc or
schizophrenic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anybody have any questions for us? I'd like to talk about them. Let's see. Let's see here. I saw one. This is by Erica. Quite a few publications indicate that lifespan in general has been decreasing, as well as
Mhm.
noting the quality of life has been decreasing as well. Well,
Not a
factually,
shock. Yeah.
yeah, factually, the life expectancy in America has gone down. Before COVID, the life expectancy was about 78 years, which is also funny because the average death age was over the age of life expectancy, which means you are actually more likely to live with to live if you were over the age of life expectancy with 4 serious comorbidities and got COVID. You were more likely to live longer. It's
Yeah.
so wild that people think this, but um, it has gone down, and the reason is that in America we eat horribly and are sedentary, and we treat our bodies like as if we have a spare. You know.
Yeah. And it got worse because now we have been encouraging stay inside, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be more attached to your devices and
Yep.
do all these things that are quite counterintuitive to actual good health. Yeah.
Yeah.
Name that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
We could
Exactly.
just go
Let's see
through
if
the list.
anybody else has any questions. How about injury recovery using BPC 157? I know nothing about it.
Okay, so BPC 157 is a peptide. This is a new thing
Mm-hmm.
that the FDA doesn't want us to have, apparently. Um, it's been very good for me. I've used it
Have you?
yeah, oh yeah. For I've had sore knee at one point, used it. It was gone in like 2 days. It's usually injected subcutaneously under the skin, and basically peptides are small little proteins that are found naturally in the body. In the case of BPC 157, it's usually in the stomach, and they're being used for other parts of the body to serve certain functions. So with BPC 157, it decreases inflammation. It can also help with the repair and
Mm-hmm.
the repair process. I like, with the folks that are have undergone surgeries, I actually recommend them using it for that reason. So like
Awesome.
let's say they break their arm, for example. Obviously they have to get the bones fixated, but afterwards it can help speed up the healing process. So there's a lot of those peptides in the peptides that are being used out there, being tried. That's just one of the most common ones that I've seen people use because it's like magic. And there's a reason why the FDA is sort of honing down on this is because it's
It's magic.
replacing pain meds, it's replacing anti-inflammatories because it's got very little side effect profile. Like the only side
That's what I
effect
was about to
really
ask.
yeah, that the only side effect profile really is infection if you have a dirty needle or you don't
Wow, are you
clean the
serious?
area
That
properly.
low?
Yeah, I
that
mean, I
low.
haven't. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much from from anybody really saying
So
anything on the
tell me
contrary.
this: if I have disc degeneration in my lower back, in my
Hmm.
lower, just suppose it. If I have disc degeneration
Hmm.
in my lower back, my last three discs,
Yeah.
would a subcutaneous injection around at that area help?
So here's the thing. Yeah,
And this is not
sometimes it
medical
doesn't
advice. He
help.
is not diagnosed. He is not
Yeah.
diagnosing me or giving me medical advice, people.
So the thing is, yeah, the effectiveness can vary depending on what the injury actually is. And it also depends on the person too. You may not react to it as well as other people might.
But,
However, the reason why I still say like, hey, give it a shot is because the side effect profile is very low. It's like, why not give it a fucking shot? Like, it's, shot in the dark. I mean, if you don't want if you want to avoid surgery at all costs, like,
mhm.
I don't see why it's worth the shot, essentially. Because that surgery, by the way, for disc repair and we call it oh gosh, XLIF. So that's I forget what that stands for, but basically they go in they it's a freaking like I think 18-hour surgery where they either go through the back or go through your belly, and it's like very gruesome too. Like it's a lot of work. And a lot of load to have to separate all the discs or separate the vertebra and discs. Ooh. Anyway,
Yeah.
I cringe just thinking about it. But anyway, to have to go through that, that's like your last ditch effort,
Mhm.
to do a disc replacement like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's a worth a shot, but you have to do it
Yeah. Yeah.
consistently enough too.
We
Yeah.
will definitely talk more about this offline because it's not like I don't have a jillion injuries. Anyway, tons. Oh wait, side effects include nausea, diarrhea, dizziness due to lack of extensive human studies.
Yeah, that's
Now I will say this: you just read the pharma industry's disclaimer on it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, the yeah, the other problem is that it's hard to get some of the stuff out in the literature because it's sort of
Mhm.
getting suppressed.
Yeah.
And that's why I take caution to data nowadays and how it's being
Yeah.
obtained. Like really, rather than seeing the results of said studies, I actually think we should be focusing on more on how the data is obtained.
I agree, 100%.
So that's why, I mean, this is the one thing that I took away from medical school, by the way. So this is the one little tidbit of information that's probably helped me since COVID because it's been something that's kind of kept me out of the ruckus of oh my God, this study says this study's 6 foot rule and all this other stuff, all this like propaganda coming through my head. Was I actually looked at how the materials and methods section, that's how they did the study,
Yeah.
and what actually are they measuring to get to this conclusion? Because that's
Right.
actually probably more important than actually the conclusion
Yes.
itself, where
Absolutely.
you can all the landmark studies that have been like thrown off on the media, not even
Hmm.
just the medical studies, but even like the sociology studies, like the gender pay gap thing.
Yeah.
If you looked at how they did the study, like you would understand that the conclusion that's being pushed out in the media is
Hmm.
complete nonsense.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's something I should do a show on that actually to kind of analyze materials and methods on certain landmark papers because that changes the whole game. And
Yeah.
what most people do is read what the media says about the
Abstract.
study, and it's
Yeah.
usually not a person that's not in science. It's a journalist. They don't have a science background, or nor they are confident in reading the scientific literature. They just probably went to the conclusion of the discussion section at the very end, or the
Hmm.
abstract even. The abstract is kind of the section where it's like your hook. It's like, hey, come read my paper, kind of a thing, and they don't tell you everything that you need to know. So they're doing it that way, and that's probably where things, this game of telephone happens, where it's like, oh, okay, I put, this article says this about the study, and then the article, another news article outlet cites that article. So you have this game of telephone going, and then now you have all these like really weird uh, conclusions that come from one person that happened to
Right.
look at the study and interpret it incorrectly.
Which I've said that for a long time too, but also most people just read the abstract, and I know this is going to be tough for people. Don't believe a word that Big Pharma tells you. You can't believe it. You have to look at it. If they say, well, it causes this. I mean, they also have told you that the COVID gene therapy, which, by the way, they just came out and said it was a gene therapy, which is another I told you so because I said that since 2021.
Didn't RFK also, didn't they have a hearing just recently about the COVID vaccine? They were trying to get rid of it.
They're going to pull it in a month or two.
Yeah. Well, they had a hearing. I think they had an official hearing that I think Dr. Peter McCullough was on that too. And
it should have never been. It should have never been done. Like, I mean, just so everybody gets it, it should have never been done, and not because of the possible dangers or anything like that. There was never any justification for an emergency. I mean, I'm sorry, there just wasn't. COVID is for the general population, the general moving, tax-paying population, was not a serious threat. It just is not, and especially if you're healthier. The only steps that our public health officials should have taken were to inform the public of the possible minuscule danger, especially for people under the age of 20. They had like a 0.00003 infection fatality rate, but also to inform you, like, hey, upper respiratory viruses tend to be harder on people that have chronic illness or are morbidly obese We should try to reverse all those. Instead, they told you to order DoorDash, drink alcohol, watch some fear porn on every single day, as they told you how many people died, and to stay in your house. And if you went outside and tried to go jogging on the beach, they'd arrest you in California. So while it's this weird thing that people don't want to realize, but there's never any justification for literally any of it. And I could even get into how it was in the United States in late, if not early fall, late fall of 2019, meaning the first wave, which is the most deadly wave of the virus, had already occurred in the fall and winter of 2019. Therefore, the second wave was actually the weaker wave. And since we didn't do anything for the first wave, we definitely should have done anything for the second wave, and just let everybody mingle to natural immunity. And I know this is going to sound hard. People were going to die, but guess what? People die, especially people over the age of life expectancy with approximately 4 or more serious comorbidities. And the people that were doing the dying from COVID are the people that do the dying. Old people and fat people. Like they're the people that die in general of all sorts of things, Now, that to me is why things have gotten weird about medical science, because they still are on this, it's saved millions of lives around the world. Like, no, the fuck it hadn't. It just hasn't. Like, maybe I don't even know if it works, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even believe it works, because you can still get it, you can still transmit it, and you can still die from it if you're on it. There's no real evidence that it mitigated symptoms, because the COVID-19 has such an enormous asymptomatic spread, number,
Yeah. Couple things, like going back to how they obtain the data. I think I mentioned this before, but especially when reporting vaccine injuries, that was troubling in itself, because there's plenty of pressures from all sorts of angles where they weren't able to say, hey, this is, I think this is a vaccine injury. They weren't able to say those kinds of things. And thus, like, you would wonder if the data is actually correct.
Right.
There's that piece to that. You're mentioning something about, oh gosh, my ADD is kicking in now. Maybe it's an Alan thing. That's like Alan also have ADD.
We're linked.
Oh, the emergency thing, or the definition of vaccine. If you look at the old definition of the vaccine, that the COVID vaccine didn't fulfill those requirements for what a vaccine should be doing. And that was the most like crazy thing about that was, I mean, I learned what a vaccine was in medical school. Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that we kind of ignored like these basic principles of what, a vaccine actually is, it's supposedly supposed to prevent you from getting the disease in the first place, which didn't do. And then thereby it's supposed to decrease the ability for you to spread the disease, which it didn't do. And it just wasn't a thing. It was just like
it didn't do what it's supposed to do.
it didn't do it,
You know,
it wasn't properly a vaccine. Yeah. Like, so I, again,
well,
like,
no,
and people in my field were like saying like, oh, it's, but it still helped people. It's like, okay, how,
prove it.
is this, and was it, and did it actually fulfill this definition of a vaccine? Like, yeah.
Well, the weird thing is it still fills the definition of a gene therapy. A gene therapy is something. A gene therapy is something introduced into your body that changes a bodily process to produce a different result. And the COVID gene therapy gets injected, and it trains your cells to produce the most deadly part of COVID, which is also very like even the thought process of this is very, very, very strange to me. And has it saved lives if these people are all going to have long-term side effects? They have no idea. They have no idea. And not only that, but like a lot of times when it comes to introducing, especially gene therapies, you really see some crazy shit the next generation or two. Like that's the fucking thing.
We've had I think we've also had a really significant increase in miscarriages too.
Oh yeah, very
and and birth complications, and I mean that definitely increases uh, the demand for NICUs. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real.
NICU therapy is definitely not cheap. I can tell you that much.
No.
So yeah, there's put a tinfoil hat on that one. It's there's been a lot of stories behind that too, where it's they say it was safe for pregnant women. Oh, really? Prove that.
Right.
Like, no.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's your name? The head of the CDC went on a tour in 2021 talking about like it's perfectly safe for women, whether you're trying to get pregnant, even in your third trimester.
Oh,
like,
geez.
you didn't hear that? Hang on.
No, I did not hear about this. Oh my God.
Oh, hang on. I have it.
Oh, you have it. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, I do. I have it. It's something I
have you shown this before?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've talked about it, but every time I talk about it, of course I'm suppressed. They're not going to just let me talk.
Wow.
Let me try to find it. You go ahead and talk. Say something.
I guess there's another question after.
Yeah.
I can't see the comments.
Oh, you can't. That's right.
Yeah.
You're on superphone setup.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. Oh, I got one. This channel just earned a Prop 65 warning. What the hell is that?
Yeah, I think it's a joke.
Okay.
Because we speak the truth.
Oh yeah. What's Prop 65? What is that in general?
You don't know? California has some very weird fucking rules, and they basically label all sorts of health shit as possible causing cancer. So, and it's Prop 65. Look it up. It's wild, like truly fucking wild.
Yeah. I have a CompGen defect and would love to test something like BPC 157 to see if it would help my kids. CompGen. What does CompGen stand for? Crystal. I don't know what that stands for.
So, Crystal, he's asking you what CompGen stands for?
Yeah. Do you know what that means?
CompGen. I don't. Give me 1 second. I got to pull up. I got to see if I can get it from my iCloud.
CK Hamlin says down to 2 medications, hoping to eliminate BP Med soon. Yes, excellent. Keep it up.
Awesome.
Keep it up. Keep it up. We would love to hear more of those kinds of stories. Let's get some positivity in here. We're talking about like conspiracy theories and doom and gloom and shit like that. It's nice to hear some positive stuff.
Give me 1 second. Media. Where's she at? There it is. There it is. So give me 1 second. This is every time I play this, I am just absolutely astonished. And I mean absolutely astonished that this woman's not in jail.
Okay.
Every time. It's so bad I can't even get over it. Give me 1 more second. I got to share screen it. There it is.
Okay.
And we'll do it this way. Okay. So this was from Dr. This was the shit. This is Dr. Rachel Linsky. You can even see she's the director of United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which I would argue the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has never controlled or prevented any fucking disease ever. Ever. They name a disease that they have controlled or prevented. Name one. Anybody. I'll wait. I
can't.
But this is her in an interview. This is September, I believe, of 2021. Okay. So I'm going to mark this at this time. the only true study was the Pfizer study that they used to get the emergency use authorization, that it clearly says did not test for fertility, pregnancy, or any reproductive harm. They did not test for that at all. They injected 75% of the population with something that was brand new, first of its kind, had no long-term safety testing, and didn't even test at all for any reproductive issues. And people lined up in literally fucking Walmart parking lots and stadium parking lots to get these fucking shots through the fucking window of their goddamn car. Yeah. And that's why America's stupid as fuck. But anyway, let's listen to this.
And OBs were encouraging it too.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Yeah.
Why are experts so convinced, including you, that the COVID-19 vaccine is safe for pregnant women?
So we have numerous studies here, and this is really important because I do know you want to control everything. You want it to all be perfect, and you worry, right? Because there's so many things that feel like that they're not in your control. The first thing I think that's really important to understand is that pregnant women tend to have more severe disease than non-pregnant women. So
this is the setup. This is the hook. This is the bait. Because they're making you feel like, oh, well, if you're pregnant and you get this, it's over. Like it's going to be severe. Notice the wording, right?
Yeah. But I don't think that's true either. Like,
it's not.
Yeah.
At all.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, anyway, keep going.
It's really important to make sure that they're protected, because if you want to do anything, it's to make sure that you are delivering a healthy baby and you are there to be the mom to that baby for a very long period of time. And
right?
Like the tone of voice is like, oh my, like she sounds so concerned, and oh my God. Yeah, it's the tone of voice.
Wait.
Anyway.
Just wait.
And so we really do want to make sure that those pregnant women are protected. We have data on pregnant women, not just getting vaccine in the third trimester and the second trimester, but now even the first trimester. We have that period of time. Early on, we could say in that third trimester, no outcomes that were different among women who were vaccinated and women who weren't vaccinated for their babies. And now with more and more data, we're seeing that there are really no differences in outcomes in terms of fertility, desire to get pregnant, adverse baby outcomes, really if you've been vaccinated or not. So what we really know now with a wealth of data and numerous studies, thousands of pregnant women, that you are at higher risk if you don't get vaccinated, and that outcomes are the same for mom and baby if you do get vaccinated.
I lie better than that, don't I?
Yes. So that's my thing, right? That was the director of the CDC, basically giving population level malpractice advice. And this is why the healthcare system can't be trusted, you know. And you were saying OBs were pushing it. This is what that was why, because they were given directive by the CDC to do so. And I don't understand how she's not in jail. Because there's literally no evidence to support any, especially at the time that she said this, there is no evidence to support any claim she made. She just got on TV and lied to the American public about injecting an experimental gene therapy produced by historically corrupt companies in a historically corrupt industry that have faced billions of dollars in fines for lying and bribing doctors, that had full liability protection, and it was also produced in a fraction of the time to have any possible idea of safety testing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they skip it? The placenta studies? They skipped it.
Yeah. There was no fertility, no pregnancy, no reproductive studies done at all whatsoever.
Yeah. Trust your doctor, right?
Yeah, trust your doctor, right? That's why you're one of the only ones I trust.
Yeah,
but it's also
you should also like take that with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah, but that's, and I say that to people all the time too. Like, don't believe me, look this shit up.
Yeah.
Like I could back my shit up. But that's also what I want to point out to people. And this is not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but research what goes in your fucking body, people. Research what the doctor tells you. First of all, if you go to a doctor's office and they tell you, I need to put you on this medication, and they don't explain to you why. They don't explain to you how long. They don't explain to you the possible ramifications, negative, positive, of being on it. they've just committed malpractice because you don't have informed consent. They're just telling you something.
Yes.
For you to have informed consent, they need to explain it to you in terminology you understand. If they say a word that is in a medical vernacular that you don't understand, you should stop them and say, "Can you explain what that means?" Because it is not informed consent if you don't understand what they're saying.
That blew my mind, actually. Yeah, that blew my mind because COVID was the first time that I thought about this, was that we don't give informed consent for any vaccinations, really.
No, you don't.
I think the military does it, but in general practice for civilians, it doesn't. And so there may be some practice that do it, but like for the most part, no.
On the healthcare side, because when you're on like the administrative side, when you talk to the lawyers, they say that they give you the pamphlet insert, and that is your informed consent because you can read the pamphlet insert. Have any of you ever opened, like, I am genius level IQ and spend my time focusing literally on this. And there's often times where I'll open up one of those pamphlets and I'll be like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, it's like a refrigerator manual. Like, it's just like, I don't want to read this shit. Like, yeah. So it's not informed consent unless they explain it to you. And my argument by that is they use both edges of the sword. Because if that's all I need, for me to have informed consent is just a package insert, put that on all drugs and let's eliminate doctors prescribing shit, and I can give myself my own informed consent. You know? Right. But they won't do that because then I'll decide what I want, what I don't want. And 9 times out of 10, most guys will choose TRT and then they'll stay off the doctor's table. Right. You know? So like that. Yeah.
But anyway, folks, I got to go cook some food for my wife and I. I have not eaten in like 32 hours. I'm a little hungry.
Things that a fat person wouldn't say.
Right. Well, I always try to push it. This week this went a little long because last night I'm working like you know how I'm like. I was working on a major project and I was like I didn't even I'm not going to stop to eat. But I'll tell you about that soon, dude. Me and you will discuss because I definitely want your help with it. Anyway, yeah. Dr. Alan Chen, thank you again for showing up, sir. We appreciate you. Where can they find you?
I'm on YouTube at Your Health Unplugged, and I am also very active on X at unplugged_doc. I have new videos Mondays and Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Central Time. And yeah, we got some interesting stuff about, actually, I've been traveling a lot. I'm not in the United States right now. And we got some videos coming up on stuff that I see outside of the United States. It's actually very eye-opening how things are run quite differently other places. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, appreciate you, Alan, obviously. And yeah, we'll certainly, I'm sure we have plenty more things to talk about later on.
Absolutely. So everybody go follow Dr. Alan Chen, good friend. And please show up. I might do a live again here a little later tonight, maybe 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see. It depends on how much I'm doing on this project.
I'll be asleep.
However, I hope everybody has a great day. My name is Alan Roberts. Goddamn.